Morning, Lily. And good morning to everybody else, and welcome back to the channel on a very grey, miserable and dull day, but ideal conditions to continue with my quest of getting this plot looking neat and tidy for the winter period. I'm stood where the line of potatoes were in the last episode, and I managed to get those up. I'll pop a picture at the end of this video to show you the yield. As you saw on the last video, didn't get very many from that middle row of Cara main crop potatoes, but the last row didn't disappoint. So I will show you a picture at the end of this video. I managed to move my way up to this end and we got the beetroot out. I then went on to give this a weed over and a little bit of a tickle, turning the soil over, and added a nice layer of horse manure. So today my plan is to tackle this bed here with this is blown now as this chard, well and truly, and the fennel. So I'm going to get this bed cleared and weeded and some manure in there, and that'll be another bed completed. And then I've also got to give this carrot bed and spring onion bed a bit of a weed too. These are getting on my nerves a little bit, but hopefully I'll see Dan this weekend and we can get to the bottom of what these are called, and hopefully you might be able to gather some seed and we can get rid of those as well. Right, less chat, more graft. Right, I've got my weapon of choice, the fork, and let's get this first one out. Taking the potatoes out the other day didn't pull me back, but I certainly knew I'd worked it when I got home. So I'm still going to take it easy. As I say, you can keep fennel in the ground and it'll come back the following year. I don't really use it for cooking. I have done in the past, put a little bit on fish, but it's just an ornamental for me. And we're not big lovers of chard, but I think next year I'll always grow fennel, always, but next year I'll have a little think about what's going to accompany it. Look, the size of this. It'll make for good compost. This soil looks great as well. Here we go. I'll give that a shake. Yep, I feel as though I'm now winning the war and making some real headway. A lot of people have said that the plot looks great, and it does, but I'm a little bit OCD with it, me. So I like to get things right. The blackberries over on the fence there did great this year, so I'm hoping, because they've been there probably about, this is probably the third season, and they never seem to do nothing, but they seem to have marched on a couple of metres now, maybe 2 or 3 metres, so hopefully they'll make their way down the fence. Get this big one out. I've come down early this morning because I've a little job to do later on with Mick. We're going to just go take, oh that's heavy, a small tree down and a hedge for a friend. So I'm going to be doing that about midday, so I'm going to have to crack on here because there's not enough hours in the day for me at this moment in time. So I managed to get all that clear, and as I said, this soil looks really well. All that needs is a light topping of manure now, and that'll be suffice. And obviously the frames, but I'm going to talk about the frames shortly. People have asked me in the past, you know, what's the best part of having an allotment plot? And to be totally honest with you, there are far too many positives to mention. Exercise, fresh produce at the end of it. But one of the big factors for me is I use the plot as a bit of an area where I come and decompress. So, as some of you might know, I've got quite a lot going on in my work life. I've mentioned it in the past, and we're coming up to a very important day over the next few weeks. So there's not so much pressure, but it's stressful, you know. All you want to do is go to work. You don't want to be fighting battles. So I like to come down here after I finish work for an hour, half an hour, 20 minutes even sometimes, just to relax, get rid of any stresses of the day, and then I like to go home, get in the hot tub with a beer and totally relax then. So what is it for all those people that are watching that have got allotments, or even for all those people that just garden? What is it that you see as the main advantages? I suppose it's different for everybody. The other thing I like to see is I love to do a job where you started, just for instance, this little bed, you know, it looked how it looked, but in the next 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so, well, it might be more because I've got a hike across there for the manure, it will look all sorted. I'm going to obviously do that little bit of a bed at the back there as well. I like to see something where you start out, it's looking a little bit tatty, and then at the end of it, it looks lovely and neat. It just gives me a great sense of satisfaction. Right, let me get this down there, and then I've got to trot over there for another barrow. "800 steps later, we're back." Right, let's lift this up and over. This has got plenty of time to rot down. I was wondering if I could put a few scoops on there. Underneath the blackberry. I don't know if I told you, I'm rubbish, so I might repeat myself a lot. But I don't know if I told you, but when I first got this plot, I think I did, in one day, I did 20 runs to the manure pile. And as I've said to you before, I've counted the steps. 400 steps there, 400 steps back. So, fair old amount of steps I'd done on that particular day. But, no point moaning about it. It's a great commodity to have. You know, a number of you were saying how lucky we are to have this pile. And now I know a lot of people talk about herbicides and things like that. I think there's a bigger worry with that if you're getting sort of farmyard manure, because we don't know what them farmers put on them fields. But this comes from an oh God, it's gone. What's the word? Equine centre, equestrian. That's what I'm looking for. Brain farts. That's because I'm 60. This comes from an equestrian centre, so the fields that the horse is grazing are obviously protected. They don't spray anything on there, so there's no worry of herbicides in this. So we are very fortunate to have it. And look at that. That bed is looking brilliant. I'm pleased. And as I walk on the plot now, I'm starting to see all these beds getting finished off. Right, quick question for you. As I've mentioned in the past, all these scaffold board beds have been down some years now and they're well and truly rotted. And I'm talking about replacing them. And Ali from the Rusty Garden channel, a very frequent viewer of my channel, which I thank her for, has suggested, I think on a couple of occasions now, why go to the expense? Why not just have beds? Now, I get that because at home, all my beds are edged off and raised, but the only problem I'm thinking here is, she says, why don't you just leave them and just have your beds? But the only problem is, I think the reason that you need to have sort of sides to them is when you're using the wood chip. You know, putting the wood chip down, will that be running into the beds? You know, I mean, I'm just digging this up just to show you what it would look like if we were to edge it off. Now, don't get me wrong, I quite like that, but would I be forever having wood chip in the beds? You know, when you've got a nice side, like we've got, I'll just move you around, like we've got here, you can just simply barrow your wood chip in and it's retained by these walls and there's no sideward spread. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? Sides and raised or no sides and natural? Let me know in the comments. So let me show you the view now as you walk onto the allotment. Now that I'm getting on with those tasks. Still a little bit of manure to put in Lily's bed there. And as you can see, the green waste is piling up, ready for that bay once we've sent Roland home. You come round, my canners are ready to be well, the small greenhouse now has been looked after and tidied, so these eventually will be getting cut right back. Just leave probably about 2 or 3 inches at the top, and they'll be getting put into the small greenhouse, covered over for the winter. And next year when they're out, I may split them. So yeah, so as you can see now, it's starting to look a little bit easier on the eye. Well, certainly on mine anyway. The carrots, there's still a few carrots to go at there. I'll leave those in for a little while longer, and then I'll take them out and chop them and freeze them, because I've got another bed, don't forget, further up the way. So yes, it's starting to look better. As you can see there, that's where the last row of carrot main crop were. So now they're out, that bed's nice and tidy. Yeah, let me know what you think about sides, or should I just have raised beds? Personally, I think it's better off to have the sides just to hold them up. And I get where you're coming from, Ali, with regards to expense, but I'm a Yorkshireman and we're very, very renowned for not spending too much. So before I go today, I'm going to go and get a barrow and spread that onto the centerpiece, ready for those sunspot and teddy bear sunflowers next season. Wallflowers are sitting up lovely. So yes, and this is what we've achieved today. The brassica cage is all nicely weeded. So the only thing I've got to do today is weed this bed, sort out the centerpiece. As you can see, this bed's neatly put to bed. Quite a bit of bindweed in the garden. So once I get this cleared, I'll try and pick out as much as I can, but I'll be ready for it next season. Oh, and let me take you over and show you this passion flower. Look at this. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is its first season. I am told that they are quite rampant, but they can climb up this and do what they want, to be fair. I need a little bit of frost on my dahlias before I start and take those out. But I think this is something Edinburgh, this one. Beautiful. Right, and as I say, the small greenhouse now is ready to house my cannas. Right. Well, that's a slightly shorter video this weekend, because as I say, I've got a little job that I've got to go to in the next hour or so. So I've got to get prepared for that. But I will be back midweek as usual, and hopefully making further progress. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Thank you very much to all those that have subscribed recently, and obviously everybody else that has. I just want to welcome you to the channel. I hope that you stick around. Hopefully over this winter we'll have some interesting content to show you on those dark, cold, horrible winter's days for those that are at this side of the continent. I'd like to just also thank all the people for the kind, lovely messages. I was listening to Danny on his live the other day, and he mentioned something on the lines of, comments that you get, and every now and then he's had the odd bad comment. To be totally honest with you, I think I can count on that hand how many, bad comments I've got. Literally 99.9% of them are all really positive, and it's those comments and that interaction that keeps me making the videos. So if you do enjoy the videos, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you don't want to comment, just a thumbs up, a heart, anything like that. It does go towards helping the channel. So, and also, if you're watching and you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. The usual blarney. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on anymore. I've work to do. So until midweek, everybody take care. Have a great weekend. And most of all, happy growing.